Welcome to another Thomas Talk. Thank you guys so much for 250 subscribers. And we would like to present to you Thomas and Friends, Hero of the Rails review.
It was a busy day on the island of Sodor when a streak of silver roared down the track. These speedy engines went past everyone riding the rails. Sorry. Later, Thomas and his friends were at Knapford trying to explain what happened. Then they found out it was Spencer. Spencer pulls up and tells them he is here for the summer to finish the Duke and Duchess's summer house. Later, Thomas and Percy were hauling some heavy cargo up the hill, and Spencer came and insulted them. Then he went behind Gordon and told him to pick up the pace. After that, went to Toby and told him he was too old to be useful and made him miss his green light. Then Edward and James were hauling some hay on one flatbed. Spencer insults and says he is pulling 5 flatbeds. That night, in the sheds, they could only talk about Spencer, and they agreed Spencer was scary.
Later the next day, Spencer comes up to Thomas and tells him he can't pull heavy loads. That drew the line for the other engines and told him he could too. Also, I think calling Toby too old is perfectly fine. When we call Thomas heavy loads, that's wrong. Just saying. Spencer had an idea. So he told the other engines that they would have a contest of strength tomorrow at dawn by the shunting yards. The next morning, all the engines were waiting there for Spencer. Then he arrived. Thomas and Spencer's cargo was coupled to them. Edward puffed up. He explained the rules, blew his whistle long and hard, and the race had begun.
Spencer was ahead of Thomas while he tried to catch up. As Thomas went down a hill, his brakes wouldn't work because the cargo was too heavy. He rushed down a hill, passing Spencer, then hit some potato cars, then jammed cars which went all over Thomas. Well, they went all over Thomas, so he was covered in jam. Then Thomas found himself on a old line. He crossed the bridge, then was in the forest. Finally, Thomas hit some bushes and came to a stop. He doesn't know what he is lost in, and then he hears a strange voice, something behind the bushes. He decides to go and check it out.
When Thomas clears the bushes, he sees an old engine. He was scared at first, but then asked him why he was here. He told Thomas his old life story and his whole life story. And when he broke down, they didn't have the parts to fix him, and then forgot about him. Thomas asked the name of the engine. He says Hero. Thomas tells Hero about the new controllers to Topham Hatt, and that he would fix him. Then Hero says, don't, because he is an old engine that can't be fixed, so he'd be scrapped. So Thomas tells Hero that he will try to fix him. Later, Thomas goes to his steamworks to get his brakes fixed. Victor tells Thomas not to listen to Spencer, and Thomas agrees. Then Spencer puffs into the steamworks. Spencer came to see Thomas about the race. Thomas congratulates him and takes Spencer by surprise. Then Victor tells Spencer to leave. Right before Thomas sees some parts for Hero and asks if he can take them. Victor agrees.
Thomas was heading to Hero with the parts when he heard a big engine behind Spencer. It was Spencer. Thomas rushed into a siding covered by trees. Spencer looks for an engine, thinking he saw someone, but he didn't see Thomas behind the leaves. So we continue. Thomas leaves to find Hero. When he arrives, his engineer starts putting on the old part, and Hero is very thankful. Later, Thomas told the others about the contest right as he was going to tell them about Hero. The Fat Controller was arriving. He tells the engines that they will be very busy tomorrow. Then tells Thomas not to pull heavy loads around the island or do other silly ideas like he did the night before. The next day, Thomas had some heavy cargo when he saw Percy. Percy sees something is wrong and asks. Thomas tells Percy about Hero, then asks if he can could take the cargo. Percy says, okay, but what should he do about this, about his mail cars? Thomas says he should just put them somewhere. Percy weirdly and stupidly agrees.
Thomas was puffing towards Hero's hideout when Spencer came up behind him. He asked Thomas why he is so far away from his branch line. Thomas panics and says he's going to the docks. Spencer was now suspicious. Thomas waited a while before he headed to Hero. Thomas's engineers came out and put more parts on Hero. Thomas says he will be back with more parts later. Hero tells Thomas don't get into trouble, but he doesn't listen. Thomas was heading home when he passed the summer house. Spencer stopped and to question Thomas. Thomas ignores him and shoves on. Spencer was even more suspicious and follows Thomas. Thomas sees Percy on the line and he stops too. When he asks Percy what's wrong, he popped a valve hauling the heavy cargo. Spencer pulls up, puffs up, insults Percy, and leaves, like the jerk he is. Percy tells Thomas he also hasn't delivered the mail yet either. Thomas says he will help Percy tomorrow, but for now he will take him to the Sodor Steamworks.
Thomas and Percy arrive at the Sodor Steamworks. Victor was surprised to see Thomas again. Thomas told Victor that Percy took his special today. Victor was confused why Thomas didn't take his special, so Thomas told Victor about Hero. Victor tells them whatever he puts in the spot in the steamworks, which I believe is a corner.
Yeah, it never said.
Yeah, they can have. Thomas went to the sheds. When he got there, he got in trouble with the Fat Controller again. Then Thomas told the other engines about Hero, and that he would need help. Thomas works really hard on his branch line, while Gordon takes parts to Hero. Then later, with Percy fixed, they go to look for Percy's mail cars that he lost. Bad idea.
Emily was working on Thomas's branch line while he looked for the mail cars. Spencer confronted Emily. She didn't say a word while she was there, and Spencer misses Thomas and Percy that puffed right above him. Spencer goes to the quarry where Mavis backs him down into a coal hopper. Gets coal in his funnel, and he has to go to the Sodor Steamworks. Now Thomas and his friends can visit Hero safely. That night, Thomas is yelled at again by the Fat Controller, and the other engines tell him not to worry, they'll protect Hero.
The next day, Spencer finds Percy's mail cars and takes them with him. While he does this, James and Toby are visiting Hero and see Spencer is too close to Hero, so they chase him down. While they chase him down, Thomas sees this and goes in front of Spencer, blocking him. The Fat Controller yells at Spencer and tells him to give Percy back his mail cars. Thomas heads to Hero, and Spencer follows.
While Thomas is talking to Hero, they hear Spencer's whistle. Thomas tells Hero to go. They have an awesome chase where Hero breaks down and Spencer goes to tell the Fat Controller. It is too hard to summarize. Watch it yourself. Thomas hides Hero and goes after Spencer. Spencer tells the Fat Controller about a scrap engine. The Fat Controller doesn't believe him, because who would believe a random scrap engine just appeared? And the Duke and Duchess of Boxford are mad that their summer house isn't finished, and they have arrived on Sodor. Right as they were going to send Spencer away to the mainland, Thomas comes up and says he would work with Spencer to finish the summer house, and they agree. Thomas asks the other engines to protect Hero while he works with Spencer, and they agree.
Thomas and Spencer work together on the summer house, while the other engines confront Hero. At the end of the day, Thomas decides to tell the Fat Controller about Hero, and to keep him. Spencer sees this and chases Thomas to stop him, but he crashes. Thomas finds him with the Duke and Duchess at Knapford and tells him about Hero. When he does, the Fat Controller tells him Hero will be restored and Spencer will have to wait. Later, Hero is fixed at the steamworks and goes to save Spencer.
Thomas brings Rocky and Hero. Spencer is surprised at Hero being restored, and Hero pulls Spencer onto the tracks. Later, with Spencer fixed, the three work on the summer house and finish it. But Hero tells Thomas he misses home, so Thomas tells this to the Fat Controller. The next day, Hero is loaded onto a ship to head home, and everyone blows their whistles and cheers.
Okay, so this plot, honestly, I know I said Blue Mountain Mystery, best CGI.
And now he's gonna change his opinion every movie.
Alright, I'm sorry, but I forgot this one was CGI. I don't know.
It was gonna be a model, to be fair.
Yeah,
It was gonna.
so this is the best, obviously, because this is Hero of the Rails. I love Hero. I love every bit of Hero. Hero is
I love his
hero.
I in his name.
Yeah. Because he's Japanese.
Yeah. Different.
So, like, this plot, though, perfect. I cannot think of a... Never mind, I'm not going to talk.
I'm gonna add one thing. I'm gonna add one thing because I don't think you ever thought of this. What do you think of contradicting the lore of Thomas and Edward being the first on the railway and instead it being Hero?
Now, yes,
I
thank
wanna-
you for bringing that up.
I just want to.
I hate that because Audrey, I know many people, Thomas fans, like to think of CGI and model being just separate things completely.
Because they don't add up.
I don't like it. I wish they would just be the same. So I really hate that because in the book, Edward is the first engine.
Mainline and.
Mainline, yes. Engine on Sodor. And Hero comes along. He's like, yeah, I was the first mainline engine on Sodor. Or one of the first, is what he said. So, why did Edward not already know about Hero?
Yeah.
Overall, though, what do you think? Overall, this is one of the best movie plots, especially in Thomas, that I've ever seen. It's spot on, honestly. I mean... Again, the movie's a little short. It's an hour.
But that's a Thomas movie.
Yeah. See, the thing is about the two we've done, Blue Mountain Mystery and Hero of the Rails, there's no filler.
There's no.
There's no filler. This has no filler.
It's the same as the original seasons 1 through 5. They had such a short time limit, they can't add filler.
Right. This is no filler. But yes, this great plot. Nothing really too much wrong with it. I mean, there are going to be little things like the timeline, and I don't like how Thomas found Hero. I'm feeling like that could have been better. But other than that, I think it's good. Justin?
The characters are so good, especially for the brand new team working on Thomas in Canada for the British show. The first thing is Spencer. Spencer was always that one-off side character that no one really cared about. Had like 2 episodes, one with Thomas, one with Gordon, blah, blah, blah. Now he is a villain. He is such a good villain. He fits the role perfectly. I don't really know why he wanted to scrap Hero. Didn't make much sense. He never really explained it.
Right.
I think he just wanted to make sure Thomas was unhappy because Thomas liked him or something. It is so good. Spencer is just such a good character. Being a villain was such a good decision, and him. I wish he had more screen time and other things. Obviously, he wouldn't be a villain again in a movie, but like he was such a good to be paired up with other side characters, like Edward episode, a Henry episode, because there's so much you could do. Also, Hero is such a nice character that fits in so good in the show. I love like all the things he has. Like one of his character traits, not character emotions. We're not talking about Rebecca. Happy is not a trait. He noticed the small things that no one else does. Like when Gordon smiles, it changes his whole face. That's a Hero quote. It's just something that you can't get from other things. It's just Victor and Kevin also fit so good into Thomas. They feel like they've been there right from the start. And this is their first move. This is the first time we ever see them. They fit in so good. And so does Steamworks. Instead of just having a repair shop or something. or going to the mainland. Nah, having our own place really made the most sense. Really helps with everything. Also, Thomas, just like Blue Mountain Mystery, is cheeky and determined. He has both of his character traits and really feels like Thomas. Voices are a bit off. I'm going to admit, this is like our first canon voice actors, because we had Magic Railroad, but that's not canon. Yeah, it's really good. And I liked all the characters. They're just awesome in this movie.
All right. I want to say one more thing before we get to the closing.
Yeah.
I want to mention, I love how they made Hero patchwork kind of look. He looked like a quilt with the different colors.
Oh yeah, patchwork.
And it didn't fit perfectly. Mm-hmm. That is so smart. Instead of just having the colors they made him in the end.
Because they were getting actual different parts.
Well, yeah, that's the great thing.
You know what I don't like? Playrail making it exclusive to a Comic-Con, and now it's Toys Rare. Okay, you can close it now.
Oh wait, hold on. I don't like how how Victor just had the cylinder laying around, the old cylinder from.
Those are parts on the side that are supposed to be thrown out.
I know, but why? How perfect is that?
But I also think it's funny because those are supposed to be parts that don't work, and we're taking off engines.
Mm-hmm.
And Thomas thinks he can use them.
Yeah. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed this movie review on Thomas and Friends, Hero of the Rails.
Thank you again for 250 subscribers. Again, that is just so crazy.
In like 2 weeks.
And the next movie is The Great Discovery.
If you want to see more like this video, then
like, comment, and subscribe.